All right, let's talk about Ella Mccay. This was a movie that I was actually very excited about because this movie stars Jamie Lee Curtis, who I love. It has Julie Kavner, which is the voice of Marge, who's just a wonderful human being and a great actress. And movie didn't look amazing, but I wanted to check it out. And it is directed by James L. Brooks, one of the co-creators of The Simpsons, and a director of many movies that are classics, like um, in terms of endearment, a couple other ones. So he hadn't made a good movie in a while. He hadn't actually made a movie in general for a while, but I was still very curious about this movie. And I guess over the weekend, I didn't get a chance to watch this movie, and it bombed horrifically, which is really, really sad because this movie is not it's not a movie that you really see a lot. This movie honestly feels like a movie that maybe would have been made in the early 2000s or the late 90s. I don't think this film is good. I think this movie is one of the worst movies I've ever seen this year, anyways. Not like one of the worst I've ever seen, but it's definitely on my worst of the year list, unfortunately. Let's start with what works. Like I said, it had a very nostalgic feeling to me, I guess, just because it felt like something that we don't get a lot, like this kind of vibe to it. But really, what bothered me is some of the dialogue here in this movie was just not good. It bothered me. I'm like, these don't feel like real human interactions at certain points. Um, this is a movie that was 2 hours long when at best it should have been an hour and a half and had multiple plot lines cut out of it. There was so much stuff going into it. And also, there's just so much, and even the main plots of the movie, I don't really care about. I don't really care about Ellen McKay being governor because I just don't connect with the emotions of the movie because some of the dialogue is just not great. Some of the humor just didn't work. I mean, this is a movie that's trying to be funny, but in the theater, like, it was very silent. Not a lot of laughs. Seems like audiences and critics aren't really enjoying this movie. Seems like audiences are enjoying it a little bit more than critics, but it seems like most people who are watching this movie are not enjoying it, and I see why. Unfortunately, because this movie bombed so hard, and James L. Brooks being as old as he is, this will probably be his last movie. And I'm glad I got to see it for that reason, but it's not a good movie. Don't waste your time. If it looks interesting to you, at least try it on streaming because that way, if you're bored by it like I was, you can just watch an hour of it and turn it off instead of having to sit there for 2 hours and sit through a movie that just is not worth.